let's talk about the what you put in place. Okay, so you decide I'm capital raising, that's not happening. I need to secure my business. Tell me the steps that you took, what you put in place. You know, I know that you were starting to do your own marketing. Tell me those steps, because I think a lot of people, you're so good at sharing what worked for you. So let's take a step-by-step approach here.
Yeah, I think the first thing that's crucial is a CRM machine. I currently use HubSpot. It's a little bit expensive, but I feel like it does everything that I need it to do. And I know a lot of people do ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. I started with MailChimp, and then I went to something a little bit more robust in HubSpot. That's how I use communicate to my investors. It tracks everything. It allows me to take notes on individual investors, allows me to understand what I last spoke about on the last phone call with them. When was the last phone call? I can even do meetings directly from there too. It's pretty robust. It's pretty badass. So the CRM is probably the number one thing that I would say everybody should have, because you want to be able to communicate. You can't, just don't think a spreadsheet and the cell phone's enough. You want to be able to tap them in so many different ways. And another thing, the reason why I went with HubSpot was HubSpot allowed me to automate my social media, where I would go ahead and set up my social media for the month of, let's say, December. And I can go ahead and have a piece of something go out every month, whether it was to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Those are the three that I use. I don't do any of the TikTok or anything else, but even one is enough. It's a little bit challenging keeping up with everything else, because everything's going out differently. You're tagging certain people on one thing, and it's a way that you have to tag them in the system. So doing it through HubSpot, I found it really slick. I can throw everything in a spreadsheet, put the links accordingly, and then go ahead and upload it to HubSpot, and HubSpot will go ahead and allocate it to the day, down to the time I want it released. With that said, I created a podcast to help, educate and continue to educate and funnel investors in. So I needed to draw investors in. I also blog, and I repurpose my content. So every podcast I ever do, blog or anything, I also repurpose that onto my social medias. I think at one point I was, at all 200 episodes of my podcast. I started back from one, and I started re-releasing them back like they were new podcasts over and over and over again on social media. I think that's something that no one ever does, because they put out the podcast and then they say, all right, it was out there one time. No, put it on a pendulum, let it go, put it out once a month. Write 12 articles a year and release that article twice a month. You'll have 24 days where you have content released, and you'll drive people to your website. You'll drive people to your podcast. You'll drive people to your blogs, whatever you need that you're putting out there. I think that's something that a lot of people don't do. It served me pretty well. It's brought in investors. It's brought in word of mouth investors. But then I moved on to the investor portal. I weighed out 3. And there was reasons why I didn't go with the other 2. And then the one that I there was 3 that I weighed out. And then one I definitely ruled out because of a certain reason. I'll keep it to myself. I don't want to cloud anyone's judgment or speak ill will about anybody. And then the 2, it's just something I just went with because I'm an IT guy, and the features that I seen coming down and the conversations I was having with both sides, I liked one side more than the other. It's not per se, it was just preference for me. And I went with Invest Next. It was affordable. I like the guys. I like what they were doing. And I like the fact that they were going to use me as a guinea pig in a beta test. And I was like, all right, I'm okay with that. I'll go and break your systems because I'm used to doing that anyways, and you can go and fix it. So it was cool. It was a natural fit for me. I like technology. So that was it. So I would say the CRM, social media, the podcast, and the investor portal before I went down the whole of the fund.